And we're back, like we never left. So what podcast? Welcome back, and it's Barry, Lord Taco. I'm Brad. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hello. I did not get the memo to wear a Bonnaroo T-shirt. I'm very sorry.
I know, right? I've been missing you guys. I noticed tacos. I like that. Hi, David.
Do you have a Bonnaroo T-shirt?
I do not. Oh wait, that's not true. I've got two that Barry gave me as a gift,
right.
Volunteer shirts.
Great,
volunteer shirts.
Yeah, they're wonderful, but I'll just never wear them.
I know. You're not.
They're too heavy. They're that heavy, itchy Gildan shirt, and I just can't get to it, man.
The real reason you don't is because there's a really good chance Brian Stone is going to be wearing his.
Oh, absolutely.
And you'll look like twinsies. Because he
wears it every day.
He does. Look, we have so much to talk about. We're probably going to miss a lot. So if we miss a topic that we should be talking about, please drop us a comment, thewhatpodcast.com or _podcast on the socials. There is so much that has happened in the last 2 months. I have no idea how we're going to get to all of it. But the top story, the lead, is that I spent a weekend with Brian Stone.
I know. And lived.
And he thrived like I've never seen him thrive in the world before. Like outside of Bonnaroo, I've never seen him this happy.
What?
Guys,
wow.
He was on cloud 9. I've never, in the 15 years of knowing this kid, have ever seen him this happy.
I've in the 15 years I've known him, never heard the word happy
I know.
put next to his name.
Even at Bonnaroo, he's miserable.
Oh, yeah, he can't stand it. He catches himself. If he's happy, he's like, I got to kick myself in the shins or something. Cause
I've got to sabotage my life somehow. How can I make this? Now, I will say the first day, the first second that he walked in the door, he goes, "Where's the closest liquor store?" And so he walks directly to the corner liquor store, buys cheap gin and some what is it called? Tonic water.
Yeah.
All right, so he buys that, and he wakes up the next morning, and the second that we get on the train, he looks around, he's like, I got to buy more gin before we get home.
Man's got his priorities.
You just bought a bottle. Have you already gone through a bottle? And he said, well, I will by tonight. I got to be prepared for the morning.
Well, he is on vacation. Come on now.
Yeah. And so literally, we took another bottle home. Within the next morning, he's like, I got to buy more tonic water. It was like this endless parade of needing to buy more gin and tonic water. After 3 days, the wife looked at me and she goes, I'm worried.
Well, as long as he knew where the liquor store, there was no need to worry. But I know what she meant.
Yeah. So he has a wonderful weekend. He walks, and I swear to God, the man walked, because I tracked it, 70,000 steps in 4 days. We walked 45 miles. He practically did everything that the city could have thrown at him. He loved every second of it, even the things that I thought that he was going to hate, like, weirdos on the train, or this place is a dump. Why does it smell like pee? I didn't get anything. I swear to God, I didn't get one complaint.
Wow, something's bad.
I was stunned.
Wrong. Compare it. Compare it to what a year ago when he came to visit you in New Orleans. I mean, everything
was a complaint.
I mean,
everything that happened.
You had neighbors that were ready for him to leave, right?
The neighbor said, "I don't ever want to see that guy." So then the best part is we go to the Mets game. I'm a huge Mets fan. He's a big Braves fan. So I took him to Citi Field, and it was the 5th of a 5-game series. The Mets have just dominated them for 3 games.
Right.
They lose 1 game because a pitcher kind of takes a dump in the first inning. But other than that, the Braves really get swamped in this series. So we get there on Sunday. We get there early. We traverse the ballpark. Oh, my God, his eyes are like Kid on Christmas. They're wide and big, and he's got this creeping smile on his face. It's getting a little bit wider every minute. And we get into the ballpark, the game starts, and he is just in awe. And by the end of the game, after watching 4 straight games with him, after taking him to a Mets bar and watching one game of the doubleheader, I looked at him and I said, "You love this team, don't you?" And he goes, "No."
Wow.
Oh, my God. Guys, he loves the Mets.
Wow.
He loves the Mets. He loves Citi Field. He loves the players. He loves Buck Showalter. I mean, at the end of it, he's like, you know what? I think I could root for the Mets if they made it to the World Series.
They're a good team. They're very, very good.
How did this happen?
Wow. Okay.
Who showed up at my house?
Okay, so for people who don't know, and Brad, you're going to laugh, but Bryan has his own podcast called Stone on Air. People might want to check that out this week because I'm going to guess his story is going to be 180 from what you're telling because he can't do it.
That's because he won't tell the truth.
He won't do it. He can't do it.
Yeah, he will not be able to tell you exactly what happened.
Yeah. It's going to be something.
I'll tell you, he's so bad about this because I was on his podcast one time and I told him the truth about a story that he had constantly gotten wrong. And what happened casually to that story? It got deleted from the podcast.
Yeah. Well, it's good to be the king. It's so funny because it's funny. I was talking to somebody about him just yesterday. Bryan has that classic 90s era kid growing up where if it didn't happen when he was a kid,
that's right.
It didn't happen.
It didn't happen. Didn't exist. Yeah. And it wasn't the greatest ever. And
that's right.
Barry, after you said this to me, I've never been able to look at him the same. We watched that 99 Woodstock documentary, right? The first one, not this latest one. And Barry came on this podcast. I don't know if Taco remembers, but he said Bryan Stone is every kid that went to Woodstock 99 because he went to Woodstock 99. Angry, but they don't know what they're angry
about. They don't know why. They have no good reason.
And that is quintessential Bryan Stone.
That's exactly right. They don't know why they're mad. They just want to be mad because
they just know that they're mad about something.
And I've said to you too, he is so mad that he's not 14 years old perpetually and discovering Pearl Jam for the first time every day. That's all he wants in life. He wants to be 14 and discovering Pearl Jam for the first time. And
well, he's going to be blown away when he finds out that I might be going to see them at the Apollo Theater.
Oh, don't tell him that.
Oh, I know.
Oh, don't tell him that.
I know.
Well, you've already stunned me by, he smiled and you used the word happy.
He cracked smiles. He was very happy.
Wow. I can't.
I mean, it might have been the greatest trip of his life.
I cannot wait then to hear this podcast because it's not going to be that. It's going to be horrible. It's going to something.
I mean, I think that he's going to acknowledge how much he liked it, but I think that he's going to have trouble not wedging in the things that he hates. He's going to have to invent some things that he hated so that he can wedge them in just to balance out his inability to be happy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Man, it was a good trip. So I can't believe that's where we're starting because the place I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to.
I feel like
I don't know if I do because and I don't know if you were going to bring it up, but not only did you guys go to the Braves, you went to Rage, right? You went to go see Rage Against the Machine.
Oh
right?
God, yeah. Oh my God, guys. So I'm going to bring this up later when I start making some Bonnaroo demands. But this was one of the great shows, and I'm with Bryan on this one. I don't like the hyperbolic greatest show ever guy. But this was one of the great shows I've ever seen in my life. And partly it's because I've never seen Rage before, partly because a lot of things. I'll get into it later. But this thing was a masterclass, an absolute banger. I mean, I forgot how many hits they had. Just one of the great shows I've ever seen. I'll talk about that here in a second. But yeah, I mean, we did that. We saw a whole bunch of Seinfeld things to come up to Tom's Diner, which was Monks and Seinfeld. Watched baseball like crazy. There's a Mets bar in the Lower East Side called Standings that may be, guys, you know how much I love dive bars. And you know how much I love Pals in New Orleans. Oh, guys, it is way up there. It might be one of the great dive bars in the world.
Wow.
Even for a non-sports guy like Taco, you could walk in there and be like, this is badass. I mean, they've got banners from the 70s still hanging on the rafters. They've got all the sports weird memorabilia everywhere. Light beer on tap.
I was going to say,
it is tailor-made. Tailor-made for us.
They make a good G&T.
I want to be there.
Yeah, they make a good gin and tonic was Bryan okay with it?
Bryan was all in on light draft beer that day. All in. I'm telling you, he didn't have a complaint. He didn't have a single complaint the entire weekend.
That's going to be the podcast. That's what's going to be wrong. New York sucked. I didn't
because I didn't have anything to bitch about.
Anything to complain about.
It was too nice.
Yeah, it's too everything.
I love things too much. I hate it. Burn it down.
Yeah, when I needed a drink, somebody was right there to bring it to me. I hate that.
I hate it. I mean, there's just no complaints. I mean, the man slept in every day. He got everything he ever wanted. I still am sitting on some major Bryan Stone news that I've never shared with anyone. And
He's pregnant.
I'm waiting for the day to bring this up because I just don't feel comfortable bringing it up without him right there you could see the look on his face that somebody's figured out his secret. I have discovered something about Bryan Stone that I don't think he's ever told anybody. And it's like I've cracked the code and he's going to be very... I don't know. You're going to see it all over his face. You'll see it all over his face and that, no, bro. And then it's going to be like, oh, no.
I can't.
Oh, no,
I can't
bro.
wait.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That's what you get after spending 15 years with somebody. So what else was I going to tell you? I wanted to start the show off on something that I have been obsessed with for the last now 2 months since we last were together. And that's this new show called Lord Taco's Twitch. Now, I have no idea what I'm watching, but I love every second of it. Please explain to me what this is, because I'm so confused.
It's just me playing video games and drinking PBR on stream. And, ever since we've kind of taken a break from the podcast, I jump back into it because I got more time now. So doing it 3 nights a week, just about.
I understand that I understand the top line, right? I understand that you playing video games and people just watching it.
Yeah.
But okay. I'll start with the very easy question. What video games are these? I've never heard of any of these games that you play.
They're Super Nintendo games and Nintendo games. Earthbound, Final Fantasy. Old.
Final Fantasy, sure.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, old school RPG games. That's mostly what I play.
But it's just a bunch of little, people walking around, a field.
That sounds like baseball.
Okay. From Lord Taco, baseball expert. So
people walking around on the field.
What are you doing at this game? Like, what is the purpose of this game that you play?
Well, sometimes you do speed runs, which you try to beat it as fast as possible, and then there's a leaderboard. Beating the game.
Yeah, what does that mean?
It means
are you collecting coins, points?
Well, I know, but how do you beat the game?
Yeah, what are you killing, Pete?
Oh, I mean, it's a long game. There's like a story, and you progress through the story. I mean,
are you saving a princess? What are you doing?
Where are these random sound effects coming from?
I have
every
effects.
Now and then. Just you're playing the effects.
Well, people in chat can play them. Yeah.
Okay, now I'm starting to really get confused. So there are people watching in the chat room. Okay, that screen that I'm watching, did you put all that together, or is that a Twitch thing?
I put it all together.
So normally somebody who plays video games on Twitch doesn't have the 3-screen thing like you do?
Well, I mean, it's however you want to lay it out. If you want to put your camera up here and move the game over here, I mean, it's however you want to set it up. But
Twitch allows you to do that, right?
Yeah, you design it however you want.
Okay. All right. So you didn't have to come up with a whole mainframe and create a code to make this thing work.
What? Mainframe and code? I don't even know what you're...
Well, when you sign into Twitch, you get options of a layout. Is that what I'm guessing here?
No, I do all that. All Twitch does is just receive the video stream that I send them.
Okay, so you did have to create the layout of the screen.
I've done the
Okay, so
layout.
how did you do that?
I use OBS and create the scene and then put all of my elements in there and with the overlays and stuff like that.
Now, see, there you go. That's what I'm asking when I'm asking what is the purpose of the game. That kind of detail. All right, so now after I figure that part out, you now have 3 cameras, okay? So you have a feed going into your TV.
Yep.
That's coming through your OBS. Then you have a camera just on PBR.
Yep.
And then you have a camera on you.
Yeah.
So you have a 3-camera setup that you all put together that then is now going out live while you're playing. Okay, so now I've got this figured out. So then there's a chat room. Now, is that a Twitch thing, or did you create that too?
No, that's a Twitch thing. When people watch it on Twitch, they can chat.
Okay,
and they can execute commands to make sound effects play, to do different video effects. There you go. It's very interactive.
Okay, so am I right to assume there was one game that you've played in the past where they can take over the game or interject themselves?
Yes.
How does that happen?
That's through a system called crowd control, where the game that I'm playing, you can create effects in the game. Like you could make an enemy spawn and attack like instantly. So
okay, but not in Earthbound.
No.
Okay,
and based on this
you can do.
I was going to say, based on this conversation, I'm hoping you're also commenting that you're doing a lot of talking while this is going on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
I mean, a lot of talking in Russ context. I mean, he's not chatty Cathy with this, but for him, it's a lot of words. Yes, it is a lot of words for us. Okay. All right. So the people that are throwing things at you, like the sound effects and stuff, you don't know what's coming.
Nope.
So somebody can just hit a sound effect of a fart noise and it'll show up.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, how distracting does that become?
It's not that distracting. I'm kind of used to it by now.
Is it? Do they do it to disturb you? Do they do it to get on your nerves?
All of the above. Yeah.
Okay, but do they do it because you like it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And how many people are usually watching at one time?
10 to 15.
Wow. Okay. See, Barry, this is what's so interesting about this. And what I think Taco doesn't understand is somebody like me who sees, oh, Lord Taco is now live. I just hit play and watch it, and I have no context whatsoever as what's going on, right? So it is the most batshit crazy thing that I'm watching. There's people screaming. There's an emoji that pops up. There's a dancing baby all of a sudden, and then Russ opens a PBR. It's the strangest.
You got it.
Old.
Sounds like a good Tuesday night.
I mean, it feels like every great cable access show from our childhood that plays midnight. You say, why is this on television?
Yeah, people making good money doing this kind of thing.
Now, has PBR reached out to you at all about this? Okay.
No, not once. I've reached out to them.
Okay.
No.
And they never said anything?
No.
All right. Well, that was topic 2 on the list of topics that I wanted to get to this week. Barry, have you not watched the Twitch show?
No, I'm gonna have to now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't
You'll
wait.
Be thrilled now that you know exactly.
Now
what
that I know what the goal is.
What's on deck for this week? Yeah. What are we playing this week, Taco?
I don't know yet. Probably just more of the same.
Okay. All right. So, do we want to get into some of this news? Do you guys have anything you want to get to before we dive in here on some of the less important things? So, a few months ago, I was told by just told by somebody that, matters. But anyway, it doesn't matter. And he predicted that you will see probably a dozen music festivals say goodbye this year. And the death of the music festival industry is upon us. And since then, how many have we seen do exactly that? Not only buku, but you see things like that. But then you see the music midtowns completely pull out because of the gun law in Georgia. So I throw it to you. It feels like there is a shifting tide. The earth is shifting under our feet. Is
it death of or culling of? Because that's what we talked about that. I know I mentioned it, that it felt like we were going to see a culling, that there were just too many of them, and we were going to see a thinning of the numbers. I didn't predict the gun thing, but it sure felt like there were just too many festivals and not enough people and not enough money. I mean, is that pretty much what your guy told you? You're talking about? Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. The economic things just don't, they're not sustainable.
Yeah, you could just feel it last year with, so many of them not selling out and numbers being down. There were just too many of them, too many choices. All the reasons we talked about, the economy, gas, fact that we sort of lost the mojo with, 2.5 years, that people kind of lost, didn't feel like the FOMO thing wasn't quite as strong as it was before, It's like, okay, I've missed them for 2 years. I can maybe miss another whatever. But I will say I reached out this morning to a couple of people, and Bonnaroo is not on that list. I know we talked about that.
Well, I mean, they just put out that we'll be back.
I know,
in
but if you remember, we talked about there was some internal or saber rattling that was going on with the city and the county and some of the businesses. I think
what's going on with that?
They figured it out as we thought they would.
Did the city?
I don't know the details. I didn't get into that level. I just asked, "How are we feeling about next year?" And they said, "We're all on."
Well, real quick, back up, because we actually we wanted to talk about this in detail months ago, but we never got to it. So back up, the city was demanding more money from Bonnaroo because they lost revenue in 2021.
The city annexed the farm, which meant the county was losing that revenue. And as part of the contract, the county was supposed to get a percentage of sales based on the 2 previous years, which was 0. So they were obviously in a fix. But then there were some local businesses that were basically trying to make all their money at once and raising rates and that sort of thing. And it was going to cost Bonnaroo a lot more money. And so there was some going back and forth. I think I said then I thought it would be resolved because, you don't look that golden cow or golden goose, don't kill the golden goose. Manchester doesn't have a lot of other options, certainly nothing like that. So, you kind of figured they would work it out. Like I said, I only got a short answer, but it sounds like something was worked out. Yeah. Because remind everybody, I mean, what we decided, 40,000 people was what they had there.
I've been meaning to get the final count. I haven't. I guess I could ask, huh?
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of people talking after it was all over. I mean, there were a lot of things, Russ, you and I noticed. Security was not nearly as vibrant, shall we say, as it had been in the past, and fewer people.
No, not at all.
And I mean, one thing that I think, I didn't even think about, but like this, they didn't even give up. You talking about those T-shirts, Brad? They didn't even give those out to the staff this year. I mean, that was another one of the. Yeah, think about that.
Wow.
They didn't even do T-shirts.
What were the volunteers wearing?
I suppose I never.
Stop it. So how
Didn't
were
they
they
have vests?
identified?
I don't even remember, Russ. Yeah, vests.
They had vests. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
But they didn't even get a T-shirt.
So basically neon vests that, county inmates wear when they're cleaning up the yard.
Okay.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, I mean, a little thing like that is a perk. You go home with a T-shirt. They didn't even get T-shirts. So I know,
Oh, my
right?
God, I
Little
didn't know
things
that.
like that.
I mean, that saved them a lot of money.
They are
T-shirts
expensive.
are expensive. We know. We've got plenty. Barry, you want to give some wages
I wish I had one to hold up.
Yes, plug thewhatpodcast.com.
go to-
T-shirts are available.
That's right. You can get all kinds of merch. We have some stickers left and some koozies. So,
Maybe an orange vest.
yeah. But anyway, they seem to have resolved it, so we'll see. And I will be curious as part of this conversation to see if events like Bonnaroo benefit from some of these others going away.
Well, maybe, but the big three, of the big three, only one had a bad year. The city festivals are doing really well right now because, you have other things to do. Lollapalooza did just fine. Lollapalooza sold out. ACL's selling out. Coachella did just fine. So, Bonnaroo is the only one that really struggled. And for years, let's put it this way. For years, they were the standout because they were a camping festival, and that's what's made them unique. That was also the reason why they probably struggled this year more so than any other festival. So it's a give and a take.
Yeah, I'm really, really curious to see. I think we sort of, Russ and I know that Friday night maybe, or was it Saturday night? I guess it was Saturday night because you were asleep on Friday night. But you and I were talking about, what we would do next year.
Wait, whoa. Why did Russ fall asleep early on Friday night? I forget.
Because
you went hard on Thursday?
Yeah.
Ah,
he put his dinosaur costume on, and we didn't see him again till the morning.
He went into hibernation.
Went extinct.
Yeah.
I was extinct.
He went extinct. Yeah.
But I do remember you and I on that Saturday night, I think we talked about it on our last episode is, do we want to stay in media or do we want to go out to GA and, what might we do different next year? And I still don't know the answer. I'm glad I went, but it was.
Well, you have plenty of time to think about it, Barry.
I'm glad I
plenty of
went,
time.
but I'm not in a hurry to go experience 2022 again. I know that much.
Well, I mean, sorry. No, I think what I would start wondering is with the comment from a higher up in the industry saying that the music festival business is in a really tough spot. You get Music Midtown gone, you start wondering and looking around and saying, well, who might be next? Is a Forecastle in trouble? Are you going to get a Shaky Knees in trouble? These seem like no-brainers that they come back because they've been so successful. I mean, Shaky Knees was very successful this year, but the economics of this they're really tricky. At the second that you have to jack up prices 25%, it's going to really change the way that you ask yourself, can we sustain this? And
from a local level, we've got
the
Moon
answer.
River in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 3.5, 4 weeks.
Yep. 3 or 4 weeks.
It's not sold out. It's not sold out.
How are sales for that, by the way?
It didn't sell out this
Really?
year for the first time in 3 or 4 years, and
I mean, they're only selling 10,000
between 10
tickets,
and 12,
right?
depending on how they configure it each year. But right about that, yeah. I think they're close from what I understand, but not sold out. And then I understand to your point just a second ago that the Riverbend Festival, which is local, almost 40 years old, totally redid it this year, went from an unlimited number of admission to a 15,000 cap, which they hit, but it it just about broke even from what I understand. And part of that was because of a $2 million, was it a grant that the government gave to entertainment. Yeah,
I
don't know
think
if
so.
it's a grant or whatever you call it, but basically a grant. And so, that's a big bunch of money to get that you can't count on next year. So, like you said, they're probably looking at raising ticket prices.
I mean, I haven't tracked the money, follow the dollar, but I wonder how many of these music festivals got bailed out during COVID with these kinds of programs. And you just made a really, really great point in that can survive them this year, but how does it bring back next year? Hence, you're seeing a lot of these cancel. Look, I think that we all universally think that Firefly did a nice job. I mean, our buddy Sean is now booking that Firefly Festival, and I think that he did a great job booking it.
Yeah.
But it's not sold out. And Firefly always does well. These second tier festivals, I think, are in real trouble. Now, I know that there's conspiracy theories going around about Music Midtown because, they're trying to hide behind the gun law and maybe they weren't selling as many tickets. Well, look, I don't think they were selling as many tickets as they thought, but I was absolutely 1,000,000% reiterated to that it was the gun law. And even if they are doing a really good job messaging that and getting everybody on the same page and making that the point, I believe them. But it is good timing if you want to get out of the business. It's a good time to
not just
start reallocating dollars somewhere else.
God, I hate to again be doom and gloomy, but not having an event for 2 years has to be hard. I mean,
well, I actually don't think it's doom and gloom, Barry. I think it makes the ones that survive better. I think the reason why we are so bummed out in some of the Bonnaroo and some of the other festival lineups is because we've seen it happen. It happened last week, and it happened the week before that, and it happened the week before that. Like, how many more times do we have to carbon copy the same music festival lineup over and over? And so, and it goes back to a conversation that we had with Quayar and other professionals, is these more curated experiences, these places that have really special identities and brands. They're the ones that are going to probably survive more than others. And your regular music festival that's in your hometown or in your region, they're probably the ones that are
it has to have that
up.
special reason. I mean, you can see band XYZ almost anywhere. It's what's surrounding it.
I mean, look, Govball was a mess this year. Absolute mess. Does something like that survive next year? Why would it need to? It was in the Citi Field parking lot, for Christ's sakes. What kind of brand experience do you think you're going to get on asphalt?
Right. Well, I know we're gonna.
This is not a music festival. That's a fair.
Woodstock '99 too, but a lot of this is. I mean, I just watched it this week, and it was stunning to me to see the progression from 1999 to 2002 when Bonnaroo started, and then where we are now. And it's all about. I know.
Well, don't get too much into it because I haven't seen it yet. No, I haven't. I saw the first one, but I have not seen the latest.
Very similar. So, I mean, you can.
Well, somebody told me that, and you tell me if I'm right or wrong, but somebody told me that it was more not putting the onus on the musicians and putting it more on the promoters. That the first one was way too blaming, the bands.
Yeah,
for
there was a
everything.
lot of that.
Fred Durst for everything.
It was a lot more emphasis on how women were treated in this one, even though it was mentioned in the first one. That was a big issue. And we can get into that, or we can wait till next time when you've seen it. Because I'm gonna wait because I want us all to watch it first. And really is kind of what we were just saying is, as we've learned, and the reason you and I and Taco are doing this podcast is we've just appreciated that level of customer service and branding that Bonnaroo has had. Thanks to guys like Jeff Quayar. I mean, just guys who wake up and think, what would I want? You know, as a fan, what do I want? I want water. I want shade. I want comfort. I want, you know, a 24-hour experience.
Well, I will say, bringing it back home, if there's anything that Bonnaroo has been really, really good at over the last 16, 17 years, Barry, they're fantastic listeners. And there's very rarely a time there's something happens on that farm where they don't hear it and react in some positive way to it. So I have no inside track on this, but I can promise you whatever was said this year, they heard it. Which brings me to my demands.
We have demands now. Okay.
I have some demands. I do. I have some demands. I've spent 3 months now in New York. 4 months. I'm sorry, 4 months in New York. And I have come away with a few things that I am absolutely demanding Bonnaroo consider and do. And this is not because it's not self-serving, although it's self-serving. All right, so
All right.
I am starting demand number 1. I cannot believe, after 16 years, 17 years, however long this festival has been around, I cannot believe that not one time they have booked Rage Against the Machine. It is almost derelict of duty that one of the greatest rock bands on the planet has played Coachella how many times, have done how many tours now, few and far between, but never once come to Bonnaroo. I am out of my mind in love with this Rage show that I saw on Monday. Now you're seeing somebody I'm a casual Rage Against the Machine fan. I liked them. I know their songs. I know it was going to be good. Barry, I didn't know it was going to be incredibly great. I had no idea that, first off, you forget that there's only 3 guys putting out that sound. Outside of Zach, there's only 3 guys making that thing feel so big. Not only that, you forget how great of a guitar player Tom Morello is. You say it in your head, oh yeah, Tom Morello, great guitar player. Oh, no. He's not great. He's the greatest guitar player alive. And it is incredible how he keeps that whole operation sounding pitch fucking perfect. Every note is perfect. It's insane. Third, Zach had a broken leg, which I think made the show better. He had to sit on a gearbox. It didn't feel like he only had to do vocals, right? So he didn't have to like bounce around the stage and make it. No. He just had to make the vocals right. So he had to sit on a box, and he had so much energy on this box. It almost felt like sometimes when he was spinning around, putting his leg in the air, it felt like he was levitating. He had so much energy coming off of that box.
Is that why they say break a leg when you go out on stage?
Literally, yeah. You'll be a better performer. Fourth, I have never seen a show at Madison Square Garden before, but the only thing that's ever come close to the almost perfection of sound that is on the What stage is what I just heard at Madison Square Garden. Oh my God, Barry, this venue! I've never heard a venue better. Aside from Bonnaroo's What stage, it may have been the best sounding venue I've ever been into in my life. Every seat is padded and comfortable. I can't tell you how much I loved this entire experience. Fifth, the knock on Rage is too negative for Bonnaroo. Not the right kind of energy. And man, if that's the argument, I want to point you to the screen that they have behind them. Whereas during some of the songs, they were posting names and stories of social justice, people who have been abused by police, social justice warriors, celebration of people who have helped, putting people's stories up that haven't been told before, that have been forgotten, people who have been completely used by the system or abused by the police. They throw these stories on, and there's nothing to me more Bonnaroo than Rage Against the Machine, and how they are social justice warriors and trying to affect change in all of the right spaces. That's exactly what Bonnaroo is. How have they not
Who's saying
Rage
they were too
Against the
negative?
Machine?
And I mean, I'm sitting here thinking that Tool show wasn't exactly a big, warm, fuzzy hug, was it, Taco? I mean, talk about the video.
No.
Anyway.
They're definitely not too negative.
Well, I mean, look, killing in the name of, you can find people who would say that's just not the right sound. In fact, I got a few messages saying it's just not the sound that Bonnaroo is known for, and I just don't buy it. I don't agree with it. Nobody in our generation has been able to write songs and put a message out in lyrics this profound and this impactful in a generation? Why what is keeping you from I understand the rationales that we've heard before. Not everything works, the touring. There should be no debate here. Get Rage or nobody. This is the one last band that you haven't gotten, and you can make an argument about the Stones, but give me a break. This is reality. This is a real band that you could absolutely go get. Why are you not throwing money at them? That would be the single biggest thing they could do to get back into who we know Bonnaroo is. Second demand. I demand Bonnaroo bring Cee-Lo Green to be the host of the next SuperJam. All right, Cee-Lo Green did an album with Dan Auerbach. Now, Dan Auerbach made him do this beautiful sort of Pentecostal church Teddy Pendergrass album. It didn't get heard for a long time because Cee-Lo was in a bit of a Me Too mess, and not of a bit. It was of his own creation, and he just kept making it worse. So he damn near ruined his career with his Me Too moment. Well, the album gets put out, and now he's doing shows. He did one at Jazz Fest, all tribute and a dedication to James Brown, where they're all wearing a jumpsuit where it says Brown Automotive on the back of it. So they're going effortlessly through James Brown's catalog, through his catalog, through Meatloaf to Celine Dion. They are weaving so many hits through the James Brown catalog, and it's done with an absolute stunner of a band behind him. Absolute stunner. Now, Cee-Lo, can, here nor there, but imagine Cee-Lo hosting the SuperJam with Dan Auerbach half an hour away in Nashville. And you see the drama that's around the Black Keys right now, and Patrick Carney's, whatever is going on with him and Michelle Branch. But I don't think the Black Keys are going to be touring much longer, considering the drama that's happening between them. So you're going to get Dan sitting on his hands in Nashville, already produced an album with Cee-Lo. Bring it down. Let him curate a James Brown SuperJam. What are we? This is a slam dunk.
Yeah, why not? Wasn't Cee-Lo
He was never
banned
officially banned, no. Yeah, it was.
He was. he said some curse words and he mooned the.
He was
people.
never officially banned,
upset.
but he's not on anybody's short list to invite back anytime soon. To put it that way. But whatever. All right, so I want to hear the other demands. I can't wait to hear these. So the knock on Cee-Lo, the reason why you would say he can't do it is because of his Me Too movement. And to that, I would say I hear you. I'm not discounting it, but they had no problem putting All Time Low on the bill, and they had no problem putting Machine Gun Kelly on the bill. Now, they might have been missteps, and they might have regretted it, but there is precedent for them to bypass
certain indiscretions or problems in an artist's past. Okay. The rest of my demands are not so much demands, although they are gentle pushes. All right. It is time for us to look around and celebrate the friend of the shows, Duran Jones and the Indications, and Aaron Frazier. One of the great shows I have seen now twice this past year and 2 years, Aaron Frazier at ACL, and now Aaron Frazier at a small Brooklyn club right around from our house. Duran Jones is going to have a new album. Aaron Frazier is slowly going to be a solo superstar. I am betting. I don't know why we're not putting Duran Jones and booking them almost immediately. And then finally, it is time to bring Julien Baker and Angel Olsen and Sharon Van Etten back to Bonnaroo and let them curate an entire female empowerment experience. I think that the best female artists that we have on the planet right now, Brandi Carlile, Sharon Van Etten, Phoebe Bridgers, Maggie Rogers, Julien Baker, this group is a knockout. They're the best. We are in almost a golden age of female performers, and they're getting zero love on the radio. They're selling out everywhere. They're streaming everywhere. I don't know why we're not putting all of them. With Bonnaroo's problem with women, and their first headliner being Lizzo and then Stevie Nicks. Man, now's the time. Now's the time to just bring them all. Do whatever you can. I mean, those girls are in Nashville. Do it. Bring them all. Make an entire day, an entire stage dedicated to just female liberation. Fuck the patriarchy. Put them all on one stage and let them run. Do something completely different, completely out of the box. Give them an entire plaza too. I don't see why not. At this point, it's time.
You done?
There you go.
I
hope
just
they're
was
listening.
taking
That's what I got.
notes. So, Taco, do you want to reach out to Stephen and Bryan up there in Knoxville and tell them, guys, it's done. Your work is done. Brad's done it all for you. Do you want me to? Because I'm happy to share these.
Believe me, I'm sending this recording to the C3
wow, they're
people.
They're going to be thrilled. They would have no idea. Yeah.
Yeah. Solved all your problems, guys.
Yeah.
Solved
they
all
love
your problems.
getting these kind of notes. I know who you should get.
Look, it's not so much about who you can get. It's that we're in a time now where it calls for sort of a different approach to things. The standard operating playbook and all of these things are just not going to work as well as they did in the past.
Yeah, well,
it's time to do something different.
I think that, and we've been saying that for the last 3 or 4 episodes, that this whole year felt like a do-over. It's a reset, and I still think so. We didn't have the suggestions and the demands like you've just put forward. So you've had time to think about it. Obviously.
Well, I think I'll tell you why. I've had a lot of time to think about it, and I don't say this as some sort of like uppity, all of a sudden walking into New Yorker,
like,
but
didn't it, Taco?
When you're here, well, I don't want it to sound like that. No, I don't want it to sound like that. The reason I say it is because I've seen more shows in the last 4 months than I probably did in 4 years, even including Bonnaroo, right? And so when I've been so like jumped into this pool and swimming around it, and I start looking around. First off, it's the reason why I didn't need to like break my neck to get to Bonnaroo or Lollapalooza this year is because every week is a music festival here, right? Like the challenge is to stop yourself and to not do something. But I've seen enough of these shows now to say to myself, you know, doing the same old thing and finding the same old artists are just not gonna cut it anymore.
Fair enough.
I don't think that's being
maybe
New York, is it?
Well, I mean, you know, not everybody got to see Rage at Madison Square Garden.
I know. That's why I want them to. I demand them to bring them to Bonnaroo. I demand it. I will be your fighter, Bonnaroovians. I will be your warrior because I will not rest. You will hear me say it every episode on this goddamn podcast from now until Bonnaroo 2022.
I'd like to see them. I don't know why they've not been there.
Rage.
Yeah. I would love to have them there. Yeah.
That is it. I just can't. If it was that good at Madison Square Garden,
I wish.
Imagine how good it would be on Friday night on
probably our next episode. Maybe Russ and I can come up with our list of demands. That's a little strong for me. What? I don't know that I have a list.
I'd love that.
Yeah,
taco based on more
more blue hairs
based on last year. I mean,
got it.
You know what changes need to be made. I know. You know we talked about. You know, they moved us from the trees, but that's a personal thing. And there were issues with the.
Yeah. Okay.
But there were the issues with
the. Making everything about me.
Jam tracks
like,
and some of the gates and some of those sorts of things. You know, maybe we ought to think and come up with our own list of changes. Right.
See, I'm not asking for a lot of changes. I'm asking for them to rethink how they are approaching.
What I was going to say was interesting.
Putting this lineup
now
together.
We're talking about lineup being. You know, we've all the last couple of years we've sort of been lineup is important, but it's not all encompassing. And I does it feel like this year the lineup is going to be very important? I mean, would you? Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
absolutely.
And look, I just if we go down this path of, you know, come October and November when we're doing lineup hunting and we are, you know, throwing out our mock lineups and saying, you know, my wish list is this, and this, man, I tell you, if we come to January, February when the lineup gets announced and it's the same old load of crap, we're all going to be like, we don't care anymore. I'm telling you, you're just not going to care anymore. I know that the experience is wonderful, and we're going to all talk about how great we love it. Yes, we do. But at some point, we got to do something different.
This last year was you know, I talked about it. It was a work year for me, which I knew, and it was also a different kind of thing for a variety of reasons. But there was nobody on that lineup that was a must see for me. There were a lot of people that I wanted to see, and you know. But there was no bucket list or can't believe I saw act. And it certainly as an entirety, it wasn't like that, you know. Still had a good time. But yeah, I think you're right. I think
I hear you.
The lineup better come strong. It better be one of those I can't miss it, you know, type of lineup. Yep.
I can't miss it. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's what they need.
All right. That's all I got for this
I want
week.
you to watch,
I know there's a lot still left on the table, but
I want to talk about it.
That's about it. Russ, have you watched it?
No, I'll watch it this week.
Okay. All right, so that's our homework.
Watch it with this
and we'll try to reconvene next week. What do you say, guys?
After it was over, it really stuck with me that it was in 1999, obviously, and then Bonnaroo was 3 years later. And the transition, not just from festivals, but social society and just all kinds of things. Watch it with that in mind. All right. Love you guys.
Okay. All right, we'll do. You're the best. Talk to you guys soon.
Consequence Podcast Network.